DJ and PK brought to you in part by America First Credit Union. Get the official debit cards of the Utah Jazz, University of Utah Sports, Real Salt Lake, and more exclusively at America First Credit Union. On paper, PK, a home game with the Spurs is the Jazz' best chance to win one more game this year. But do Jazz fans want the Jazz to win?
Oh, I don't think it matters.
We're almost 100 votes in, and 69% of the people, nope, it's all about the draft.
But I don't think this game has any effect on anything.
That's what Warrior says. It doesn't matter. Our fate is sealed at number 9. They'll be drafted 9th, win or lose.
Yeah, I don't see where this game matters a lick. It's just another game to play because somebody says you got to play it. I don't think there's any passion either way.
They're not moving back to 10, and he doesn't believe they're catching the Brooklyn Nets at 8. And you wouldn't care if they did catch the Nets at 8, would you?
As far as what do you mean?
Drafting 8th or 9th. Does that motivate you? It's a few more ping pong balls to move up. And it's one player earlier if you don't move up.
If there's someone desperately that you wanted, you could get that player at 8. You could make
a deal with the Nets, the Grizzlies, or the Raptors and move up to 8, 7, or 6.
Offer they can't refuse. Yeah, you've got enough assets. If you believe in somebody, and I hope that's the case.
That they really see somebody they think is going to be that good?
Yeah, for sure.
And then be right about it?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
They traded up 3 spots to get Deron Williams. You can move up.
And they should have drafted Chris Paul.
In the end, neither guy would have stayed.
You don't know that.
Chris Paul's moved around a lot.
Yeah, but it's all been forced.
He wanted out of New Orleans. He didn't get to go to the LA team he wanted.
I don't know. I can't argue something that's nebulous. I mean, there's plenty of stuff if you want to argue that's real rather than try to read it. So what? So you have him for 9 years. You can move around all you want, but you still have him for the way the system sets up. You have him for a number of years to make your mark. We act like, these guys won't stay. Well, they have to stay.
They do want their money in that second contract.
Yeah. So we're going out 5-6 years?
Yes.
You're not going to draft somebody because he's going to want to leave after 5-6 years? That's too long of a time to be worried about that. So I don't know about that. The point is, Chris Paul was better than Deron Williams, and I thought they should have drafted Deron Williams.
Me too.
So I'm right there with them. I see why they did what they did, but Chris Paul's better than Deron Williams, as simple as that.
A much longer career.
But even at their primes, he was better. So the point is that you've got to hit. And it's not like Deron Williams was a miss by any stretch. So Deron Williams was fine. I probably even should have said that because that derailed the thought process. Deron Williams was a fine pick and a fine player when he was going to, and I liked him because he was always irritated.
And that's the best.
Yeah. He never seemed happy. Good for him. Or bad for him. I don't know. Whatever he wanted. But I hope that there's somebody out there that they trade up for. Because that means they want him. Or trade down and get him. Because Ainge traded down to get Tatum. And obviously Tatum was far better. Tatum went 3rd. And we know Markelle Fultz. This is something for you to look up. Because I don't know who went 2. But Tatum, I assume in that draft, was the best player, and now you'll go typing away to figure it out.
I don't want to disappoint you.
You're going to disappoint. You don't have to apologize for being a nerd.
I'm not.
Yes, you do that all the time, like you did. Oh, remembering the Super Bowl? Yeah, remembering an onside kick 10 years ago in the Super Bowl. That's nerddom. Relish
it was a
it.
bold move. I can't remember anything else about that game.
Fine,
Saints
but
won because they onside the kick.
Don't apologize for it.
Lonzo Ball.
Well, he's been a disaster. He's been on his 3rd team. And now he's been hurt even before the injury in anything close to Jason Tatum. So I want them to keep their eye on it. It's hard that the lower you go to be able to think, wow, that guy is really, really, really going to be something special. I don't think they know that. I don't think that when the Ladens got the statues that they knew they're really, really going to be.
They liked them, but they didn't know first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah. And I'm not sure really anybody. There's maybe 6, 7 guys in the scope of our lifetimes where they knew this without question. And LeBron is the most recent one. I don't think there's anybody, and we're going back 20 years now.
LeBron, Duncan, Shaq, Magic, Bird.
Yeah, and LeBron being the most
Jordan,
recent is 20 years ago.
Even Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that's not available most times, where it's overwhelming, without question. This is the guy.
Are we too early to add Wembanyama to that list?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, he looks obviously you would take him, but do we know he's going to be the guy without question?
Looks the part so far.
I don't know. I would disagree with that. Well, I mean, and they took him, so he went. He wasn't available, but for one team, and they weren't going to trade him under any circumstances.
Yuck, you want to guarantee he's going to win 4 or 5 titles?
He's got an incredible skill set.
I don't think you have to win 4 or 5 titles.
Well, Bird won 3. I was about to say that's what all the guys that we just talked about.
They've all won multiple titles, and that's a pretty good caveat to add to that list.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, if you
so does Tatum go on the list? He hasn't won a title, but Ainge was firmly that's the guy.
What's the list? What's your definition of the list?
We're talking about these can't miss guys.
Yeah, what you just said.
Magic, Bird, LeBron, on down that list of the.
No, I wouldn't put anybody since LeBron. And there's been a slew of great players since LeBron. But I mean, I would take a Ewing, I would take a Barkley, I would take the statues, and then take my chances. I would take Steve Nash.
Steph Curry.
Well, Curry
paid off.
No, Curry won it.
I know, but nobody knew.
Yeah, but he's still the 6th pick. It's not like he was way down below.
But nobody knew this.
Yeah, that's why I didn't have him at that level. So forget about that. You're looking at so frequently infrequent that is far beyond the exception that actually happens. And those guys, rightly so, are celebrated. But if you, from their perspective, if they think somebody's going to be really, really good and they want to go get them, yeah. Somebody like a Barkley who, he had 1 shot?
1 trip to the finals.
Yeah. But still, he was enormous. And the statues had 2. You would take them every single time. They're plenty good enough to get guys, if that's your, when you're drafting your draft pick. And then it's up to them, and everything has to come together and so forth. And and a whole bunch of things have to happen when those things happen. I mean, we talk about Nash, and Nash gets right there against the Spurs, but Stoudemire and Boris Dio take a half a step off the court when Ori hip-checked him. And the other night, Colin Sexton comes out to the free throw line.
How did he not get suspended? I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're losing games.
It doesn't matter. But that cost the Suns a title.
It was a great chance to win. They had a home game to win this series. They needed one game, and they were going to have it at home, and then they didn't have their guys for that game.
Right.
For what was never going to be a short series. You can't tell, well, you should have won it in 4. Oh, come on.
Yeah. And then
Sexton, how is he all the way out on the floor and the NBA didn't do anything?
Right.
And he knew, too. You watch that video. It's out on social media. You can see it. He runs out on the floor and he's like, oh, wait, this is exactly what I'm not supposed to do. It was almost comedy the way he veered around back to the bench like, yeah, I got to get out of here.
Right. I believe they punished him by forcing him to play.
Yeah, I see your logic there. Oh, no. If we have to do this, you have to do this.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody tell Frank Layden that one night when he was trying to get kicked out?
Yeah,
hey, if I got to watch this, you got to watch it too. I'm not kicking you out.
Right. And the Suns were denied an opportunity to close out the Spurs because 2 players came maybe a yard or 2 off the court, onto the floor.
Easy to argue that that's the harshest penalty the NBA has ever meted out to any player or team.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you can't. No one else could feel more hard done, treated more harshly.
And it made it worse because then the Spurs swept. I think.
Well, that was a given. Whoever won the Western Final that year was. I mean, those were the two best teams in basketball.
Yeah.
And I think that was Game 5, right? Was it Game 5?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
they were about to go up
Game
3-2.
And it impacted Game 6.
And they had claimed home
it
court.
was deep. That was in the whole title. Nobody believed. Maybe
After
there were
their star player got 100% cheap shotted.
maybe like 4 or 5 of the most hardcore Nets fans thought they were going to win, but nobody else thought they were going to win.
It was just an awful, awful, awful decision. And now we're putting Nash into that category.
Meanwhile, Colin Sexton gets to run on the court in full view of everybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, nothing.
There were other guys that looked like who maybe came a step onto the court. And I thought, and I'd have to go back and look at the video to see who it was, but there's somebody who put the foot on the court. And I did think, ooh, if you're the Phoenix Suns in the Western Finals, you're out.
Yeah.
But Sexton was like, that was comedy. I mean, he was like 20 feet onto the court.
Right.
And he realizes it. Maybe he heard somebody because the coaches were up and yelling, but it's loud, so who knows what he was able to hear down on the court. But he just veers around like, oh, yeah, I really shouldn't be out here. This is exactly what they talked to us about.
I think now with if anything with Chris Dunn, he's a feisty player. Given the fact of where they are and they want to lose, marketing, get out there. Instead of Scott Layden when he came back as an assistant, that was his job. He'd veer to his left and put up both hands.
There's always people on every team who have to do that. Yeah.
Well, now just get up
wave
and
cap. You're like the cop.
Toro.
You're like the cop in the intersection waving the traffic through to the stadium. You're good. Come on, let's go.
Get them out there so they all get suspended.
Get the G League team up here to play a game.
Yeah. Then we get the one kid who went for 50 points, Lofton Jr., have him out there. Yeah, and then you're guaranteed to lose. That's what they ought to do. Encourage it. Right from the start. Give it an opening jump.
Quickest whistle on the opening jump since the refs.
Hockey.
Since the refs wanted to send a message to Rudy Gobert.
When they had, you see that sometimes in hockey, they want to brawl. So.
They drop the puck and guys just start. They don't do that so much anymore, but for a long time they did. Yeah.
So, I mean, they want to lose that bad. They should encourage the guys to go out on the floor. That's where we're at. And I think as far as tonight goes, win or lose, what's the difference? Yeah, I just hope for the ticket-paying customer that Wembanyama plays. Because I would go to see him.
Yeah.
He didn't play last game, but that was a home game. So we'll see here to see that. And then we know afterward we're going to have a tender embrace between the two coaches. I can so do without that. It just seemed like you people, yeah, man, we're getting millions.
You'll be watching the NIT by then.
And I've had enough. Am I the only one that bugs? And it's just I'm just tired of these smiles and these warm embraces after the game. Give me the Celtics and the Pistons.
How much competition are we really seeing?
Bleep you. Right? I think does not see like some fraternity where they're all making millions. It just seems like a scam when they do all that. And maybe that's old crusty me, and I'm sure the Jazz don't like me to say it. But
so what?
That's what I see.
At the end, it used to be that it was at the end of a playoff series, which I always thought was hard to handle, but it is the end of your season, and guys are going to be out of the league and whatever. And,
I got
and now
you.
it's every game.
Yeah. It just screams to me that winning and losing really doesn't matter.
I'd rather see Chris Dunn holding on to somebody's jersey, hollering at him.
Yeah.
And then one guy shoves and one guy escalates with an elbow, and then it's on.
But that's it.
Yeah, we don't need people punched in the face.
Yeah.
Agreed with that. Don't throw a punch.
Yeah.
But I would still rather see that level of feistiness than everyone out there hugging at the end of the games.
Hugging and kissing, wearing next to nothing because it's hot as an oven.
Coach waving at the other coach, that's fine.
I got me a car, and it's as big as a whale.
It's about to set sail.
So come on and bring your jukebox money.
When we come back, Tim Lacombe will be singing. We won't just be reciting lyrics. Tim will be singing. That's coming up. Utah Jazz radio studio analyst and former BYU assistant coach. We'll talk Sweet 16, get his picks. He He gave us a sure winner in the first round. Let's see if he'll give us a lock for this round. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.